Hello everyone, and welcome back to F1 22 for another round of Driver Career, episode number 45 for the Monaco Grand Prix. No Pirelli Hot Lap Challenge here, so we are heading straight into practice. This is quick practice, which I do usually just in practice 3, just to tick off any of the objectives I was not able to do in the previous sessions that I would typically drive myself. And yeah, this time is no different. So yeah, not sure how things are going to go here. This is literally the single luckiest quick practice I've ever done. Usually the AI fails the practice programs a bunch of times, but we got lucky today and each one was successful on the first attempt, which the only real impact that has is that it puts less wear on your engine components than if you have to run each one multiple times. But anyway, given all those practice programs were successfully completed, we get a bunch of discounts to our upgrades. And again, this isn't something I show all that often. Normally I just skip straight over practice, but I noticed on this screen one of the upgrades has now a stupidly massive discount on it. I think it was the turbo reliability or durability upgrade. So yeah, we might just grab that anyway because it's so ridiculously cheap, even though we don't necessarily need it. Who knows, it might save us a little bit later on. But here's the R&D chart. We still remain the 5th fastest team heading into Monaco. So despite the fact we are really struggling to get any upgrades on the car, we're still in the fight at the back of the top 10. But we are going to need a perfect weekend in order to make that happen. In terms of R&D, we're currently blocked in on the aero department, so nothing we can do there. Our chassis is what really needs some work though, and that could be an issue given that we are in Monaco. But even in the chassis department, we only have one upgrade available to us, that being a major weight reduction upgrade to the engine cover. So it is a big one, it's an important one, but yeah, still all the same, it's only one upgrade that we can choose from. So we will do just that. And of course we, as discussed previously, are going to start rushing upgrades as and when we can. I don't think all of our facilities even have that option. I think the power unit facility doesn't have that option yet. But yeah, we're going to rush it. It'll be on the car in time for, well, probably not in time for Canada, let's be honest, but we can dream. And yeah, let's see what else we can do. Not much in terms of the power unit department. Our power unit's actually pretty good anyway, so we're going to turn our attention to the durability department, and we're going to focus on the gearbox. There's two big weaknesses of the car in terms of the durability. One is the gearbox, the other is the ICE. Unfortunately, I don't have enough resource points to purchase upgrades to both of those, so we're going to get the reliability testing for the gearbox. And yeah, the ICE, like I said, we can't afford, but given that the turbo durability upgrade is so cheap, it's only a minor anyway, but it's only 85 resource points, so we might as well pick that one up as well, and we'll rush that one. And that should be on the car in time for Azerbaijan. Improved materials for the turbo. So yeah, with that sorted, hopefully we won't have any more mechanical dramas in the middle to latter half of the season. But on that note, I have put the older gearbox back in the car, and the first ICE as well. So yeah, I was going to, or I considered putting the next line of components in for this round. It would be slightly early anyway, but the ICE and the gearbox, we've already put the second one in. But the ICE definitely should be, it should be changed. It is more than half worn, which is when you start losing performance out of it. But at the end of the day, we are going to opt to sacrifice a bit of performance here to hopefully reduce grid penalties and potentially races like this later on where we might have to put up with a race or two with a worn engine. We might as well get it out of the way early in the season if we can, but we'll see how it goes.
With conditions as they are, I'd suggest you take a set of full wets.
And as you can see, wet conditions in qualifying here in Monaco. So who knows what is about to happen. This is going to be a very, very tricky session. It was dry all throughout practice, so it's really sprung this one on us, and we are struggling as we make our way up the hill. Charles Leclerc gets through, and we're really, I've only done just over a lap. I've done the out lap and what you've seen of this one, and as we grazed the wall there for some reason, the lapse in concentration. But yeah, I would need to do 100 laps in these conditions to get a rhythm, and I'm just trying to survive at the moment, but I have absolutely no pace. So yeah, this is going to be a very difficult session in the 18 minutes or so you get in Q1. There's just not enough time as we hit the wall there, just on the straight. It's just not enough time to get into a rhythm and to get used to the conditions for me, unfortunately. So I'll do what I can, but I really don't have high hopes for this session. And we do improve on our second lap. Not that our first lap was really any kind of bar, let alone a high bar. But that is a tough session. We are just going to fast forward to the end to see if it's going to dry up. I'm checking the intermediate tires, but no luck, and that's the end of the session. We're going to qualify in P20 and start at the back of the field in Monaco. I could have done more laps, but ultimately the conditions just were not even remotely enjoyable to drive in, and I was probably just going to end up crashing the car, and that's just not really what we want to be doing. So I decided let's just save it for the race, and we'll see if we can have a bit more luck. The race is forecast to be dry with almost certainty. I think it said like a 2% chance of rain all throughout. So yeah, the rain hit for quali, and that's it for the weekend. So interesting conditions, but it's going to be a complex race starting at the back. We can only try our best, so we'll see how it goes.
Formula One returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo Casino that first opened in 1863. And of course, a certain road race first held in 1929. There's no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. The astonishing Circuit de Monaco is, for all intents and purposes, virtually unchanged since its inaugural race back in 1929. The faster cars of today ensure the 19 corners past the casino and along the seafront remain as thrilling as ever. A 2.1 mile lap here takes us around an entire country, yet never more than inches from the race-ending barriers. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Perez, Charles Leclerc and Sainz, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Ocon and Daniel Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Bottas, Mick Schumacher and Joe, Albon, Stroll, Sebastian Vettel and Kevin Magnussen, Latifi and the scientist. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box. Ant, it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Well, strategy in Monaco. Where to start? I tried a zillion combinations and yeah, came up with nothing. Really, I was torn between going for what the fastest strategy would be, which was a two-stop softs to two sets of mediums, or the same strategy as what I think everyone else would be doing, which is hards to mediums. So in the end, I decided to start on the softs and maybe try and make some ground in the early stages, but we'll see how that plays out. It's going to be tough either way. But yeah, starting from the back of the grid, starting the formation lap now. We have to wait an eternity for everyone else to take off before we can finally get the formation lap.
Okay, so let's go through all the gears if you can. We need to make sure the engagement is okay before the start. We're going to want to put some temperature into the tyres and brakes. We need to keep the engine cool though, so don't go too high with the revs.
Before we can get underway ourselves, but yeah, this is going to be a tough one. Lance Stroll along with the two Alpines starting on mediums, everyone else starting on hards. So it'll be interesting to see how the race plays out for those three drivers in particular, whether they gain or lose out overall, and as well as that, who actually ends up making a pit stop first out of everyone else. But anyway, we'll see how it all goes as we should be going to the 5 red lights any second now. We're just stationary on the grid. Everyone's in their grid box, so I'm not sure what the delay is here as we're sitting around, and well, there's everyone is getting disqualified. Okay, we're doing this whole thing again, are we? Rightio, we go to the 5 red lights, and it's lights out and away we go for the Monaco Grand Prix, and we get a decent start.
Okay, we're monitoring somewhere on the internal combustion engine. Be aware that we're going to start to see a loss of power.
And confirmation there straight away as we back out of the fight into turn 1. A confirmation that we absolutely are, you know, using this power unit for the last time, and it's seen better days. So it's not going to be a huge problem here in Monaco, and yeah, then we'll pack it up and never use it again as we get a little bit close to the back of Latifi there. We just want to survive the opening couple of laps and then settle into a rhythm. Once we're into a rhythm, we'll start trying to make some overtakes, but I've got no interest in trying to push through the field in the early stages. We just want to keep it clean for now. Off the front row of the grid, Max Verstappen was able to get a clean getaway. It was a great qualifying by the Mercs, by the way. They started P2 and 3, and looks like they've been able to hold station there. On board with Yuki Tsunoda, he qualified P11, so an opportunity into turn 1 to maybe move into the top 10 and have a chance at some points down the inside of Daniel Ricciardo, but not able to get the drive traction on the exit on the tight inside line, and Ricciardo holds on to the final point. As we see now Tsunoda going down the inside of Ricciardo into Mirabeau, and he's actually got the move done there, so Yuki Tsunoda moves up into the top 10, and we have a real chance of points with that overtake from Yuki Tsunoda. So that is awesome. When I say we, I of course refer to the team, but that's would be great to see Yuki into the points again. Of course, he managed to hold off Esteban Ocon in the closing stages of the Spanish Grand Prix to seal a point there when we had our troubles, so it could be 2 on the trot for Yuki if he can hold on to that 10th place. But at the end of the first lap, we drop almost 3 seconds away from Nicholas Latifi, so yeah, we really did struggle on the opening lap, but we'll be into a rhythm very shortly, and even by the end of lap 2.
DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Oh, we've started closing that margin to Latifi once more, so it always just takes me a bit to get into a rhythm here in Monaco, and now that we're just starting to get there, You can see we're closing on Latifi rapidly on the soft compound tyres. Latifi on the hards in a much slower Williams car. We should be able to make this move pretty easily, and we'll make the move down the inside into the Nouvelle chicane, and that moves us up into
Okay, good work, great pass.
P19. So that's the first overtake of many we're going to have to make in this race if we want to achieve anything of anything of a reasonable result. Might have grazed the barrier a little bit back there, so hopefully not, otherwise we'll be in a little bit of strife with our front wing.
Right, we think the car behind might start to have fuel management issues. Let's see if we can use this to our advantage over the next few laps.
And Latifi struggling with some fuel issues by the sounds of it might explain why the Canadian has dropped away from the rest of the field.
Okay, be careful with the front wing, you've taken some minor damage. Tyre condition still looking good.
And confirmation there that we do have some damage to the front wing after that slight graze with the wall. It was barely a touch, but it was enough to cause some damage, so we'll probably get that changed in the pit stop. We still have some decent pace though, which is encouraging despite that bit of damage. I didn't actually notice it too much, but it's always good to get that front wing changed when those issues do come up. We'll make the move down the inside of Kevin Magnussen, bit aggressive over the inside curb there to get that one done.
Nice move, good job.
I wasn't sure how much space I was going to be given there on the inside line. Here's the onboard with Kevin Magnussen. We came from a long way back, but just committed down the inside, and it was a drag race up the hill after that. Magnussen tried to keep the fight going, but eventually had to back out as we go through that very much one-line section of circuit as we go around the outside of Sebastian Vettel, and that was a nice move.
Great maneuver.
Doing that in Formula 2 cars is one thing, but trying to fit the F1 car all the way around the outside without grazing the barrier, much higher downforce, higher speed through there, and a much smaller margin for error, but we're able to get it done.
Catching the car in front by about a second a lap.
And that was a really nice move. And we need to be efficient with these overtakes if we can, because the faster cars are only getting further away as we make the move down the inside of Alex Albon into Casino. We're starting to like this zone of the circuit, and we make that move on the tyre driver and move ourselves up yet another position, and we've now cleared most of the slower cars in this race. The only other one I suppose of note is Lance Stroll, who's on the mediums, so masking the lack of pace that the Aston Martins are experiencing.
Okay, gap to the car ahead is 4.1 seconds.
So it's not too far up the road to Lance.
Stroll ahead. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 2.2 seconds.
So we did almost halve the margin, but unfortunately that's as close as we could get. The tyres fell away after that. I think we might have damaged the front wing slightly more at one point, and it was time to come into the pits anyway. We'll get a new front wing on the car and get racing once more. Medium tyres go on as well, of course, and they should be a nice reliable compound that we can use throughout a relatively long stint. And halfway between here and the end of the race, of course, we'll come in for another set of mediums, and they'll carry us to the end of the race. We're borderline on the pit exit there. I don't know how we didn't get a pit line cutting penalty, but I'll take it. We've dropped to the back of the field with Nicholas Latifi, the next car up the road, 16 seconds away.
Okay, we're currently at the back. That's last place. It's Latifi ahead of you. Our gap to the car in front is 7.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Okay, they've done 22 laps on those tyres.
And just like that, we've hoovered up the margin to Nicholas Latifi, and we've got a nice run here towards the swimming pool section. We're going to make the move down the inside through the swimming pool chicane. Goodness me, that was tight. But we had so much speed. We had to send her. We monstered that curb, but we got away with it. And the charge continues as we make the move down the inside of Kevin Magnussen, who's still stuck down towards the back of the field.
No issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them.
And no damage from those couple of risky moves. Now we make the move on Sebastian Vettel as well, and we are absolutely flying with massively newer tyres. Next up the road is Alexander Albon. Weren't quite feeling brave enough to go for the same move we did on Nicholas Latifi, who's I presume still nursing some issues with that car because he seemed very slow through that section.
Tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them.
But yeah, we're going to send it down the inside of Alex Albon, and that was aggressive, but we got it done nicely, and we can just brake so much later into turn 1. The confidence in the first half of the lap is sky high. In the second half of the lap we struggle a lot more, but through here, through Massenet Casino, we're really strong through that whole sequence.
By about a second a lap.
And yeah, once again we've got Lance Stroll up the road, so
Stroll is ahead of you. Okay, gap ahead is 8.6 seconds. They're on old mediums. We're currently trailing our teammate by 10.2 seconds.
We've already, got ourselves back into that same position we were before making the pit stop. Everyone else starts making their stops though. My teammate being so close, relatively, is what alerted me to that. Looks like Yuki Tsunoda is in a decent enough position. He sits P13 at the moment with 3 cars not far up the road that have not made pit stops yet, and he's still ahead of Ricciardo, who was the main threat to get the undercut on Tsunoda, but looks like AlphaTauri have done the job through the pit stop cycle and not allowed that to happen. So yeah, looks like Tsunoda could be on for some points here, and that would be absolutely fantastic, because I don't think we are in the fight after seeing that the others are starting to make their stops and we're still a long way behind them. Even now, after they've made their stops, and I still have a pit stop to go. I think really I'm fighting with the Williams and Aston Martins. I think that's where we are in this race, unfortunately. I don't have the pace, and the not even necessarily the pace, it's the track position. I don't have the track position to fight with them, and yeah, I think I very much underestimated how much time I'd be losing.
We're currently investigating.
Just in the first few laps alone in the traffic. We've been able to get through the traffic pretty reasonably quickly, as we do have an issue with the car that we'll need to pay attention to. So we'll just wait for some confirmation as to what that is. But we'll chase down Lance Stroll in the meantime.
It looks critical. Find somewhere to retire as soon as possible. We can't risk you carrying on with this race, I'm afraid.
Oh wow.
Again, find somewhere safe to stop. We need you to retire.
We are out. There was a perfectly good escape road there, but anyway, we're carrying on. This is not me driving now, of course. The AI takes over, and we're smoking. No wonder we have to retire the car. That is a critical engine failure, and our day is done here in Monaco. We're out. Just like that. I suppose on the plus side, we weren't going to score points anyway, so it'll save some durability on certain components, I suppose, though we have lost one, of course, with the failure. We'll find out what that is later, but our day is done regardless.
It's the one that everyone wants to win, and they've only gone and done it. What a fantastic result here at Monaco. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest? Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
So Max Verstappen takes victory here in Monaco. He's on a championship charge this season. Second place goes to George Russell, with Lewis Hamilton making it a double podium for Mercedes. A great weekend for the Silver Arrows.
So let's review the updated driver standings. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. And pulling further ahead in the standings, it's Red Bull. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
Alrighty, well, with no highlights reel, I'll just have to rattle through everything very quickly. Max Verstappen ahead of George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris, Esteban Ocon, Fernando Alonso and Daniel Ricciardo taking the final point. Yuki Tsunoda must have lost that position on track sometime after we retired. In terms of the drivers' standings, Max Verstappen extends the margin to 33 points, funnily enough. And then in terms of the team's championship, Red Bull still lead the way with a whopping 104-point lead over Ferrari, who are just 14 points ahead of Mercedes. We drift a bit further from McLaren. There are 8 points between us now. As you may have just seen, we were able to do enough this weekend to secure victory in our rivalry with Kevin Magnussen despite the DNF, and we also got that ERS cooling upgrade successfully on the car. But anyway, we've got 400 resource points for the issues we experienced, and actually we got them twice over, one for the issue and one for the mechanical DNF itself. I don't know if we actually were given the points twice over or if it's just given us 2 different emails saying the same thing, but either way, that's a chunk of resource points that we can put towards improving the car and hopefully not having this kind of nonsense happen again. But yeah, we're still yet to see which component failed, so yeah, we'll check that out soon. But yeah, they are suggesting we invest in the chassis department. I have just done that after practice in Monaco. I did buy that chassis upgrade, so that'll be on the car soon enough, and hopefully that can reduce whatever issues we are having. But yeah, we're pretty blocked in still at the moment with what we can do. We can work on the power unit though, so yeah, we might be able to do that. And while our power unit is good, we actually have the 3rd best power unit in the field, only behind Red Bull and Mercedes. We can always improve, of course, and yeah, we can only do the standard development here, and we will get an ERS upgrade, so yeah, to the energy store cells, so that'll be on the car soon enough. But yeah, we can also, I think that's used all of our resource points for now, so we'll go through the timeline then towards the next event, and goodness me, that is a lot of notifications. Our front rear downforce upgrades are finally on the car. We've been waiting for those for ages.
Come through the fabrication process. We'll have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
We've got fuel injection system upgrade, personnel upgrade in the analytics suite. That'll help Yuki Tsunoda out, and that improved materials upgrade for the turbo is also on the car as well, and that's one we rushed, so ain't that funny. But goodness me, that is going to give us a huge boost as we head into Azerbaijan. What do we spend our next batch of resource points on? We have a few. Do we go for more reliability? And I mean, the earlier we purchase reliability upgrades, the more impact they'll have across the course of the season. So there is that, but we can also push a bit more in the power unit department as well. There is some there's some reason to do that with some high-speed tracks coming up. We can sort of make the most of the advantage we already have in that department if we do so. But anyway, unfortunately, my first preference would have been to do the ICE durability upgrade, but we currently cannot afford that. So we're going to go with the power unit fuel efficiency upgrade. Give us a lighter car at the start of races, maybe make it a little bit easier to save fuel late on if we are in that situation where we are low on fuel. Hopefully it will just ease that a little bit. And yeah, with again, circuits, coming up in the not too distant future that have, long flat out sections and a high overall, percentage of the lap at 100% throttle. We'll need to make sure we have an efficient car to make the most of those circuits. So that's the plan. We've also got drag reduction upgrade available, so we can put that on the car soon as well, when probably after practice in Azerbaijan. I think I'll go for that one, unless we go for the ICE durability, we'll see. But it was the MGUK that failed, of all things, and I'm gonna say that's a good thing, because it means that the failure wasn't caused by me putting the older components in. So there's that, and also it means that we saved wear on the newer components that we didn't put in for this round. So we're only putting more mileage on components that we were essentially not gonna use ever again. And with that failure, we also save a bit of mileage on the control electronics and energy store as well, that we'll need to keep using until the midpoint of the season. But anyway, with all of that said, again, I don't really think we lost too much, to be honest, as we now will put that next line of components in for what we have 3 parts available for. And hopefully we can invest in ICE durability. That, come to think of it, should be the next priority before chasing performance again, because we want to make sure these 2 remaining power units can get us to the end of the season. And the gearbox as well. We might need to take a grid penalty there, we'll see, because we're already taking a chunk out of our second of 4. So the gearbox will be a bit tight as well, but everything else should be fine, so long as we don't have any unexpected failures of the MGUK again. But I think with that, we're just about finished here. I'm trying to drag this outro HQ thing on a bit, because I need to make it look like the race doesn't end halfway through. So that's why I've left this all unedited and I'm just talking over the whole thing. But that is going to do it for this one. So I'll say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Please feel free to give me some feedback in the comments. It's always very helpful. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one. And goodbye.